Well, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas urging fellow Republican candidates for president to unite behind him after he won 3 states on Super Tuesday.
However, billionaire Donald Trump solidified his status as Republican frontrunner with 7 state wins. So Cruz won Alaska, Oklahoma, and the biggest prize, Texas. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida finally got his first win, and that was in the Minnesota caucuses. He narrowly beat Ted Cruz there. Trump finished 3rd. Now, on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton won Texas and 6 other states. Socialist Bernie Sanders won nearly 90% of the vote in his home state of Vermont, while also winning in Oklahoma, Colorado, and Minnesota. The candidates tried to play up their strengths and go after their rivals when they addressed supporters last night.
For the candidates who have not yet won a state, who have not racked up significant delegates, I ask you to prayerfully consider our coming together, uniting.
But we have to rebuild our country. Our country is going to hell, and people don't understand that. And Hillary Clinton doesn't have a clue. She can't do that.
We've come too far in this country to let us turn back. We're going to build on the progress that we've made. We saved the auto industry thanks to President Obama. Now we've got to create new jobs and industries of the future.
This campaign is not just about electing a president, it is about transforming America.
Good morning. Welcome back to Dr. Jeff Engel, director of the Center for Presidential History at SMU. So now both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are, as you say in your business, pivoting towards November. What's that mean?
Well, both of them think that they've got it locked up, although I think only one of them does. I think Hillary has done a really good job of solidifying, essentially solidifying the base of her party, and moving forward, she's going to rack up more and more electoral delegates. Now, Sanders has a lot of money, and Sanders has a lot of incentive to stay in, but I don't think we're going to see it be a bitter fight. I mean, one way to think about this is essentially the Democrats are like a couple who are trying to decide where to go out for dinner. The Republicans are going to divorce court.
Right. If you look at the Democratic side, what Bernie Sanders really wants is respect, and he wants his positions to be heard and considered by the party.
And I think they have been. I think actually he's done a marvelous thing for Senator Clinton by forcing her to reassess how much she wants to adjust a more leftist liberal agenda and more progressive language. And she's really helped, he has helped her find her voice.
But has he pushed her so far to the left that she's unelectable in November?
I don't think so, because the probable nominee for the Republicans appears to be even more to the right than she would be to the left.
Yeah.
You know, Donald Trump, for example, keeps talking about building a party, building a bigger party, getting more people in the Republican Party. The problem is, for every person he brings in, there seems to be 2 who are leaving.
Right. I mean, if you look at his average vote totals, and again, a very fractured party with 5 candidates still in it, but he's averaging somewhere in the 1/3 range, which means 2/3 are saying anybody but Trump.
Essentially so, and they really are starting to coalesce around an anybody but Trump mentality. There's a lot of money that's going to be coming into the next couple of states, which of course are going to be winner-take-all states starting March 15th, Ohio and Florida in particular. There's a lot of money coming in directly as a negative attack against Trump. And one interesting thing to note from the exit polls, voters who seem to decide at the last minute, who were really trying to make up their minds, overwhelmingly voted for somebody else besides Trump.
Right.
Which means that negative campaigning in the final weeks could actually make a significant difference.
Which means that Donald Trump is a hard sell to those middle-of-the-road, undecided voters who could go either way in November.
Exactly. I think we're seeing a real fissure here in the Republican Party.
Yeah, Ted Cruz asking his fellow Republican candidates to coalesce, to come together behind him to defeat not Hillary Clinton, but Donald Trump.
Well, and I think Cruz has got a good rhetorical line here in that he's won a couple states, and so he can say, I'm the only guy who has done that besides Trump. But he's got a real problem going forward, because the places where he was supposed to rack up delegates in the Deep South, because of the evangelicals, because they're so deeply conservative states, those are places that Trump actually wound up pulling a lot more delegates that Cruz would have needed. Going forward, we're seeing more moderate states, more liberal states, states where people are less likely to say, what I want is a candidate who shares my values. That doesn't bode well for Cruz going forward.
Marco Rubio did win the caucuses in Minnesota. He can now claim he has won a state. But can you really go to the party convention and try to take the Republican nomination with a bunch of participation trophies.
You know, it's the real issue that we're going to have here for the Republicans is that I don't see that Trump is necessarily going to get the nomination before the convention. But the problem is nobody else is either.
Yeah.
There's really no math that gives Rubio, Cruz, or Kasich, for goodness sake, any way of getting the nomination themselves before the convention. So they're all setting up for an ugly fight.
You suggested that 10 years from now, there may be 3 political parties, and you'll be able to credit Donald Trump for that because of this year's run. What about this year? There are some people inside the Republican Party, some loyal Republicans, who simply cannot swallow hard enough to vote for Donald Trump. And there is talk of fielding a third-party candidate.
There is. I don't know that there's necessarily going to be a third-party candidate this year. I think that would be a big step, unless it's Trump. I think if he doesn't get the nomination, which he feels he deserves, then he'll definitely go third-party, I think. But the real issue is that the people who Trump are bringing into the party are, according to the establishment Republicans, not the future of the country. This is becoming an increasingly diverse country, the Browning of America in a sense, and the people who are being drawn to vote for Trump are not ones that really you can build a winning coalition for. We have to remember that the polls are showing us that we've got 45 or 55% of the electorate trying to decide who to vote for. At the end of the day, the presidency is about the Electoral College, and the electoral math is really favoring a candidate that's going to be more open to diversity, more open, I think, to the 21st century, which is not what Trump is presenting.
All right. Always fun. Thanks so much, Dr.
Always
Jeff
good to see
Engel.
you.